Hey, this is Voo, and today I'm going to be talking about how to be an effective support player. Generally, this means you're not going to be the first or the second running into a bomb site. However, you still want to have some round impact. And too often I see in matchmaking and pugs especially, that players that try to support kind of just let rounds play out however they do, and they hope that their team can win the round for them. Generally, that's not actually supporting. That's just baiting most of the time. You want to be trying your best to make the job of your entry fraggers as easy as possible. That's the main goal here of a support player. Now, before I go into anything else, I want to talk about the types of players that generally are going to be that support player. Now, the first type is going to be someone that doesn't have amazing aim. Now, of course, there are support players with amazing aim. Crims comes to mind. There are plenty in the pro scene. However, in matchmaking, it's much simpler to just go aggressive and get those entry frags if you have amazing aim and if you can out-aim your opponents. In scrims and matches, it gets a little bit different, but in matchmaking, I think that generally holds true. The second type of player is going to be a strat caller, which of course you can still have in matchmaking. And your strat caller generally wants to stay alive for as long as possible. He wants to be late into the round, still able to dictate the play of your team and take initiative to do what he wants to do. The final group of players that want to be support players are players with great game sense and players that are better in lower numbers. And that's because as a support player, when you run in 3rd, 4th, 5th into a bomb site, generally you will be much more likely to survive until later into the round. And so you do need to be good in low numbers, 2-on-2, 2-on-3, 3-on-3, that type of thing to actually be an effective support player and actually get rounds won. If you're bad in low numbers as a support player, probably going to have a problem. Now, there are 3 main things that a support player is going to want to have as skills to be good at to be a great support player. That's going to be your nade work, your trade fragging, and your risk reward, or the importance of calculated aggression, which goes again into game sense. Now, first of all, going to be nade work here, and that's what's going to be most important for you early on in rounds, and that's what's going to really shape the way the round plays out to allow you to get good trade fragging and allow your game sense and low numbers play to come into contact. So what your nade work is going to be doing here is generally you want to learn as many smokes as possible where you can throw them from plenty of areas so you can support your team in that way, and especially you want to be good at communicating with your team to throw pop flashes for them. A great example is going to be here towards Cat. You might have 1 or 2 players that want to entry frag, they're heading up towards Cat, and you want to support them, but you don't want to be crowding them right next to them. So instead of going up with them, you get a flash, prime it, throw it around the corner, have the communication that they won't get blinded by that, and then they'll come out immediately afterwards. So even though you won't get a kill probably, and you definitely won't get an assist, you will still have impact on the round. That flash could easily blind someone that otherwise could have killed them, and they might get that kill or they might just survive because of that, and you've had good round impact just by doing that. What you don't want to be doing is sitting back and telling your team, hey guys, go on up there, I'm just going to sit here and watch some television. That's not what you want to be doing. Now, the next thing you want to be good at is trade fragging, and this is something that a lot of people have problems with, especially in smaller corridors. Something like coming out mid here. What you will often do as a support player is you're going to throw a smoke towards CT, throw a quick pop flash out of middle, and your teammates are going to run out, and you're going to run out after them. What too many support players will try to do is they will run out and crowd their teammate and get in the way. Again, your goal is to make your job easier for your entry fraggers. Getting beside them when they could be possibly trying to unpeak, not going to make it any easier for them. The second thing that's important to remember here is timing of your trade frag. If your teammate comes out of doors and dies, what you don't want to do is come out of doors and try and trade frag instantly, because what's going to happen in that scenario, this player is going to shoot at the first guy, get the kill, and if you come out too quickly, he's going to just continue to spray, and it's going to be fairly easy for him to kill you. What you're going to try and do if you're going for a trade frag at close range like that, or at a lot of ranges actually, is give it that second. What you want to do is have him shoot the burst at your teammate, and then after your teammate dies, he's going to stop bursting, and you peek out in that moment. Because in that moment, he's still on that cooldown for his recoil, so he's not going to be accurate, and he's still kind of starting to think about repositioning and that type of thing, and you can catch him when he's still in the same spot, but he's not prepared for you to be peeking out on him quite as much as he would otherwise. Now, the final thing here is going to be that risk reward, the importance of calculated aggression. And that's one of the most important bits here for support players. Knowing in lower number scenarios, 2-on-3, when to push out, how to push out when you do so, and all of that. And the main thing you're going to be thinking about here is the risk reward. If you're in a 4-on-3 and you peek window, your risk is that you could bring it into a 3-on-3. You could possibly, I mean, if you have the bomb, you could lose that as well. You could put their team into the position where they could easily win the round, whereas if you're in a 2-on-3 and you peek window, you're basically risking very little for a large reward. You peek out, try and get a frag, and you try and go aggressive in that way. So even though you aren't that entry fragger, you still want to know when to go aggressive, because that's a large factor in these lower number scenarios. What you want to be doing is not taking unnecessary gunfights and being very calculated in when you want to go aggressive. So for example, maybe you are holding an angle or something like that and you know where someone is. Sometimes you have to take it that even though you could probably win the gunfight, it's not worth it if you're in the advantage situation. This is something that of course everybody should know, but support players generally want to be playing that fundamentally sound, perfect Counter-Strike that involves thinking about the risk reward and playing accordingly. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped. Also, I hit 9,000 subscribers a few days ago, and I just want to let you guys know, please, nobody make any over 9,000 jokes.